Adventure on Clee Island. Writer Tanuka Bhaumik Endo. Publisher National Book Trust, India. Story: The Climax. The three friends had, meanwhile, managed to locate the flamingo's cage. As expected, the gates to the enclosure were locked, but there was a small shed outside, where knee-length rubber boots were kept for wading in the muddy water inside the enclosure, along with bird feed and other things. There was no locked door on the door. "This must be the place," Neil said excitedly. "I'm sure the will is hidden somewhere here." It did seem to be the only possible place, and the three children took up 3 different areas of the shed for a thorough search. Aaron had meanwhile been in touch with Kay through his computer. Seeing Kay and Elena set off for the gates, he urged his friends to be quick. "We must hurry. Kay wants us to reach the will to it at the guardhouse next to the gates immediately." "Oh no," Lisha wailed in dismay. "We haven't found it yet." "Even if we don't find the will, at least we must rescue Elena," replied Aaron. "Whether we find it or not, this is the last time I rummage around in a pile of muddy boots," grumbled Neil, who had taken the responsibility of going through the boot rack. He was wearily putting the last pair away when his hand touched something hard at the back of the rack. Stiffening, he bent down and explored the back wall of the shoe rack carefully. Yes, there was something taped on the wall. Aaron and Lisha, hurrying out of the shed, had already gone some distance when they realized that Neil wasn't with them. "I'll get him," urged Lisha. "You move on to Kay. They may be in danger. Really, Neil ought to be more sensible." But, stepping into the shed again, Lisha took one look at Neil's face and knew that he had found something. Neil was holding a small, round black object like the one Lisha had found in her pocket early on that very day. "You found it, Neil?" Eagerly, she stretched out her hand. Neil handed the object over to her and nodded. "I think so, Lisha. Anyhow, there's no time to check now. Let's rush to the gates and find out what the others are doing." Lisha and Neil ran silently with the tape hidden carefully in Lisha's shoes. With already extensive exploration inside the premises, they now had a better idea where the main gates would be. The mist was also much thinner than before, making it easy to spot the house and the domes on the grounds. Nearing the gates, they could see the shadowy figure of Aaron at a distance. Further up was Kay, walking alongside a slim figure. "Looks like Elena," thought Lisha, followed at some distance by one tall guard robot. Kay suddenly turned towards Aaron so that its back was to the guard robot, and his screen flashed the message. "Hand me the will, quick." Aaron was well aware that he could not reveal himself in case the robot spotted him, yet sure that Kay had very little time to act. With quickening breath, he found 2 figures approaching him silently in the darkness, one of them making a V sign with his fingers to indicate victory. Lisha took out the tape from her shoe and handed it to Aaron. Both brother and sister looked up to Aaron for finding a way to hand over the tape to Kay. Kay, meanwhile, was talking to Eleanor. "So, show me where you have hidden the will, immediately." Eleanor was not sure about Kay's plans, but could guess that the longer she took over discovering the will, the better it would be for Kay. As they both stood in front of the guardhouse, Kay continued to talk to her while its screen flashed messages to the children to speed things up. "Come on, Dr. Mikados, we cannot stand here all night. Show me where you have hidden the will and we'll let you go." Just as Kay was talking, a small object rolled along the ground to hit its leg. Seeing no other option, Aaron had rolled the tape over to Kay. As Kay leaned down to pick up the tape, the guard robot came running from behind, shouting and holding out a gun. "What is going on? What are you picking up?" But Kay was already in the air, for quite unknown to Lisha and Neil. Aaron had upgraded Kay to make it an aerial robot, which could fly for quite a distance and was capable of self-navigation. Kay could also interact with objects on the ground, so that Aaron had full faith in it, crossing the ocean to find the law firm on the mainland. Neil and Lisha were jumping with joy, although they dared not to shout out loud in case the robot happened to notice them. Dr. Elena Mikados was also looking dazed at the turn of events, and the guard robot watched helplessly as Kay took flight and crossed the main gates. The robot fired at Kay, but Kay dodged the shot. But what was happening? The children watched in disbelief as they saw Kay slowly coming down towards the ground. Their hearts sank as they considered what could have gone wrong. Was there some technical problem? Did the gun actually graze Kay? The guard robot too had taken note of Kay's descent and ran into the guardhouse. The children suddenly found the huge gate swinging open as the robot came out of the guardhouse and ran outside towards Kay, pointing the gun at it. As soon as the robot fired, however, Kay again took flight and soared higher and higher up in the night sky. Aaron, in the meantime, grabbed Elena's arm and ran outside the gates with Neil and Lisha. At the sound of footsteps, the robot wheeled around to find clouds of smoke. The children and Elena were hidden in the smoke from the smoke pellets fired by Neil, who had such useful ammunitions ready at hand for tricks he played on his friends. Once Dr. Mikados' house was well behind them, the children slowed down and helped Elena to sit on a rock by the side of the road. Though fit for her age, she was gasping for breath and looked tired. Yet, a large smile wreathed her face.
"I can't believe I'm out at last. I'm free," she said joyously. "Yes, Elena," said Lisha and hugged her warmly. "And don't worry, your house will also be safe. Kay is sure to find the lawyer's office and give your will." "You found my will?" Elena was delighted. "Well, I do hope it was your will. In the shed outside the flamingo's cage," said Lisha anxiously. Yes, that was the one," replied Elena, relieved. "I wanted to mention the name of the bird, but forgot the name under the pressure to finish the tape before the guard returned. But finding this will really solve a lot of problems." "Well, Neil found it actually," said Lisha, giving credit to Neil, and Aaron thumbed Neil on his back. "Fantastic, Neil. Hey, what about you? You never told us Kay could fly," said Neil, sounding a little huffy. Oh, I've been waiting to upgrade Kay to become a really smart robot for quite some time, you know. But I didn't know so much about aerial robotics. Very recently, I got around to getting some help from our robotics teacher and upgraded Kay. The test flight was done only a week ago. Another point I need clearing up. This time it was Lisha. If Kay could fly, why didn't you make Kay fly on the ground in the first place? See, at that time we didn't know where the will was, how Elena could be brought out of the place, and so on. So it would have been a great risk to send Kay off in secret. It was a better bet to send it openly, posing as an official from the Supreme Office. That reminds me, Elena said, rising to her feet as they all started out for the hotel. We must quickly find our way out of this island. The Supreme Office will search for me and will try to make me a prisoner again. Oh yes, we forgot all about that. The Supreme Office is so powerful and their network is everywhere. Neil looked worried. We shouldn't worry about that too much, Elena, assured Aaron. Earlier, the Supreme Office kept its plans under wraps and would have taken your land and property quietly without anyone knowing that they had actually taken it by unfair means. But now that a lot of things are out in the open and your will is also on its way to the lawyers, they will probably want to let sleeping dogs lie. Besides, you are a scientist respected all over the world. Now that you are free, they will be afraid of your letting the world know the truth about the Supreme Office and their autocratic ways. Lisha pointed out. I'm sure the zoo you have built up for so many years will survive. Yes, and all thanks to you. Elena smiled at the children. And the mini zoos in all the state schools? Asked Neil. I will make that dream a reality. That's a promise, Elena said solemnly. Since when did you become such a champion for birds, Neil? Laughed Lisha. Ever since I became friends with flamingos, came the quick reply.